What's going on, guys? I'm back with another 31 Days of Halloween review, and today we're doing, in my opinion, one of the best horror films ever made, and will be for a long time, if not forever, The Shining. Jack Torrance becomes a winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. He settles in along with his wife Wendy and his son Danny. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his family. So more times than not, films have a backbone quality, whether it's with the story, great characters, groundbreaking writing, but just something that will shine brighter than others. But in the case of The Shining, everything was simply magnificent and well balanced. To start this review off, I need to start off with the technical aspects, and more so the mastermind behind it all, Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick is truly one of one when it comes to directing, down to his style, the way he understands and talks about film, his messages throughout his films, and more famously, his borderline insane tactics that he puts his cast through with the long hours and countless reshoots just so everything can be his kind of perfect. In this film, there are so many things that stand out, but for me, his direction and his camera work certainly is at the top of the bill. He included so many memorable shots with tremendous scope, from his scenery shots, his handheld shots, the big sweeping takes, slowly panning in and out of still shots. He just knows where the camera needs to be to maximize certain feelings and emotions. Some of my favorite shots of the film was when Danny, the little boy in the film, was riding his tricycle around the hotel, where Kubrick had this low-angled shot where the camera was either on a four-wheel dolly or being held really low by himself, just following Danny around, where it was also coupled with great sound mixing from the plastic tires riding on the hardwood, then riding on the carpet so the sound was nearly muted, to hopping right back onto the loud sound with the tires on the wood again. Really, really magnificent stuff. My absolute favorite shot may not pop off the page to casual movie fans, but it was when Jack was looking at the maze model, and it seemingly cuts to the wide take of an overhead shot of the field in real time with his family walking through it. Real dazzling work, if I do say so myself. The cinematography and color palette was tremendously captured, having all these great shots and color schemes going on, coupled with amazing production design, where each room had its own distinct mood and look to it due to the colors and construction. But when it comes to the themes and actual story, The Shining is an absolute mind-bending time where there are so many routes and theories you can explore. There are just so many themes being tossed around in this film where it has a lot to say about self-deprecation, alcoholism, appreciation of what you have in life, and much, much more. This is one of those films where you can watch it so many times and get different glimpses on it every time you watch it, where there are so many layers and avenues you could explore. It's a film that never stops giving or evolving. Now, don't get me wrong, this is certainly a horror film, especially when you hit that third act. But The Shining mainly falls into that psychological horror genre, also having a great mix of demonic energy and going stir crazy as well. This style of film and story approach was so influential to future horror filmmakers later on, where a lot of people tried to play into that act of not knowing all this means and having all these definitive answers, but they really couldn't succeed or land it as good as Kubrick did, and that's just one of the main things that make this film amazing and one of a kind. The story itself is pretty straightforward, being adapted from the Stephen King novel, where you can tell this film was just Kubrick's take on the book. It was certainly different, where King said himself that it's not close to the source material, but at the end of the day, it seemed like it was definitely for the better. And not for nothing, films are films and books are books. There was this mass confusion that films need to be exactly like the books, hence the saying, oh, the book was better. But all the film is its own interpretation on the source material. The exposition in this film was expertly handled, where it wasn't just thrown in your face off the bat, or sprinkled bits here and there, but given through tremendous pieces of dialogue. It was well handled in the first act of the film, where it did such a good job setting the table for what's to come, and also really hammering in that unsettling and eerie tone they were going for. Just everything about the film was truly unsettling, from the tones, pieces of dialogue, the set pieces, what the characters were doing, the foreshadowing, the imagery, and even the camera work. Due to the well-done exposition, it also really helped build this natural tension and suspense all throughout the earlier acts of the film, so when it got to the last act and the climax, it just spilled over in the best way possible, climaxing into something truly, truly special. When it comes to the characters, it's truly pick your favorite, because everybody on set was an absolute all-star, especially Jack Nicholson and Danny Lloyd. Nicholson has always truly been one of film's greatest gifts, where in this motion picture, it does not change, delivering such a show-stopping performance. He truly has a knack for these crazy roles where he just has so much range in his acting bag. He quite literally executed two completely different characters in this film. From the beginning, being one style of character, and at the end, being somebody completely different, yet all being in the same body. If that isn't range, I just don't know what is. His line delivery is something that needs to be studied amongst all present and future actors and actresses. From his features changing, his voice fluctuating, his hair being all over the place, just overall mannerisms and everything else in between. His performance is just so damn good. It always makes you feel like as you go and stir crazy as well, due to how invested you get in his character, and also all the things that are being thrown at you. Simply put, there's just something so dark about watching a character tear apart his family for an unknown reason. Now, if you want to talk about tipping your cap to somebody, that someone needs to be Danny Lloyd as Danny. Please, take a bow. This is personally the best child performance I've ever witnessed, where like Jack, he had so much range to his character. He plays the character of Danny so well, being this sweet, innocent boy, but also plays this split personality, in a way, being fairly dark and menacing. His voice-changing methods is nothing short of amazing, stealing every single scene that he's in, and that's saying something having this much talent around him. As for the other lead in Shelley Duvall, she is damn good as well. There are some points where her performance can kind of hinder a bit, falling into this weird, almost southern drawl, but overall, I thought she put on an excellent performance, complimenting everyone around her, but being so vulnerable at times, petrified at other times, and also brave at other times as well. And the last character I wanted to speak about is Scatman Crothers as Dick Halloran. Man, for a singer by trade, he absolutely nailed his role. He was so damn convincing here, having tremendous line delivery as well. I don't think the movie really called for it, but I kind of wish he had a little bit more because I was mighty impressed with his performance and demanding screen presence. He was such an easy character to root for, where he also did a great job adding to that unsettling tone as well. And the last piece I wanted to touch on was the script by Kubrick himself and also Diane Johnson. Man, the screenplay was bonkers in the best way possible. It was incredibly sophisticated and well thought out, having brilliant pieces of dialogue all over this film where nothing at all fell flat. All the conversations felt extremely genuine, and almost felt like you weren't watching a movie at times, but more so sitting in on a conversation between two people. There's great bits all around about the dialogue, but one of the better things I thought about the script was how layered it was. If you pay attention, there are little subtle pieces of dialogue early on that give you a taste of what's to come, setting up the eerie tone as mentioned earlier. Overall, this film is a glorified and certified masterpiece, and I won't hear any different. There's some bits to the film that I had questions about, like some of the logic towards the end, especially with Danny, and also Shelley Duvall's performance can certainly be a bit mixed, but when a film that's as haunting as this, and I'm just going to say it, as perfect as this is, I'm not going to knock it to point to not make it a 10. The Shining gets a magnificent 10 out of 10. Let me know what you think of The Shining in the comments below, and let me know what film you want to see me review next. See you guys on the next one.